This is a companion video for exercise 8 of ArcSim. So I shared 4 videos for this assignment, and I've realized that they're more general than other videos I've shared, and it seems like some of the embedded information is getting lost. Just some people who are turning this assignment in are not getting the basic workflow. So of just creating the model. So let me just do that quickly. I had asked you to create these layers, and the reason I'm doing that is just because I want our outputs to look the same. So I've done that already. For example, our opaque facade or our envelope opaque elements are light gray, set to 146 transparency. I don't know why I picked 146, but it's just I want that level of transparency. And then I have glazing, shading, and ground, all with specific colors. So let's just go ahead and create our volume. It's supposed to be 20 by 20 by 10. So now we have this volume that, let's go ahead and just call that our opaque envelope. So right now we just have one closed poly surface that is separating our inside from our outside, and it's on the opaque layer. Now let's create our ground. And in this assignment, you don't turn the ground on immediately, but we need to have it. That's also a separate layer. So I now have a surface that I'm going to put on the ground layer. By the way, I kind of like, if I remember to delete my curves, because sometimes I choose them, and if I don't need them, if I've created a surface based on a curve, just to clean up my model. Okay, and then, so next I need to add windows, or a window. And to do that, I need to make sure that I'm drawing on the surface of my model. So the best way I find to do that, because I could come in here and this is totally fine. I could say I'm going to draw a rectangle but make it vertical in the setting here, and so that works. That should be directly on my surface. I can also come to viewport layout. I've showed you this before, and this changes the construction plane with my view. So now I can create my surface and move it on coplanar to wherever I created it, which is here on the side. Oops, I didn't move the... See, that's what I'm talking about. I moved the curve, not the surface. And anyway, I'd want to be more exact if I were doing this for the assignment, but I'm just showing you how to do it. So now I have a window that is definitely coplanar to the opaque layer. I'm going to put that on the glazing layer. And then if I want to create shading at some point, I can come in and, let's just say I just want to do it directly over this window. I'm going to put this on the shading layer. Now I'm going to have more than one version of the shading, so I might make 2 of these layers. I can easily, of course, let me delete the curve. I can scale this however I want. So let's go from here to here as an example. And then I can easily create multiple versions of this. Like let's say if go ahead and do that. I'm going to make I'll say shading 1 and shading 2. And so now I can put that shading on one layer, and then I could copy it and put it on another layer and just change its size. I didn't just copy it, but I'm just saying that we can do that. So we can easily make multiple versions of that shading, right? Okay, so now I have my basic model set, and let's create a thermal zone. So if I come here I'm in my thermal analysis setting, I want to add, if you mouse over this, it's adding a zone from a template. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to select my opaque envelope because that's what's surrounding the whole thing, right? I'll have other nuances to it, but I'm going to select the opaque envelope or whatever it is, the surfaces that are separating my inside from my outside. It's going to be the very outside of the building. And hit enter. And then I get these zone templates, which I talk about in some detail in the videos. I'm just going to pick the first one. That is now applied as a zone. And if you open this, you'll see I have, first of all, let me notice, if I click on these here, I'm not seeing what's going on in the thermal simulation. That's because you remember that my graphics window, in this case shaded view or other views, ghosted, rendered, or whatever, are not what's in the simulation. If I go to wireframe, I can see what Climate Studio is saying is in the model right now. And so in my zone, I have 4 facades, right? I have an exterior floor and a roof. Now this exterior floor is just part of that envelope. It's not the ground. I'm going to have to tell it that if I want it to be a ground. So right now this model, regardless of this grid here, thinks that you've got a box that's just floating in space with air all around it. If I want to add a window now, I have to come and select my window from, just make sure I'm doing the right thing here. Here's glazing. I'll go ahead and just select the objects. Get out of that. It's selected. Now if I add a window, just leaving the default glazing, it adds it within the zone. Okay. And so then if I want to come in and add shading, I need to add that shading to the zone. I can't just turn on the layer. So to do that, I'm going to select it, add shading, and now it shows up in the model. And now if I want to add my ground, I have to come in and say add ground. Actually, sorry, this is ground. I'm going to add ground. And that's going to be that ground layer, and there it is. It's at least in my presets, it's green. And so if I switch back to my shaded layer, it's red here. I've got all the original colors, but in the wireframe, there's a separate set of colors that are defining the model in the thermal, what's on the thermal simulation. And now I can run this. There's always this DOS window that comes up to show you that it's running. I have it on another screen. And so I have now a functioning model. So what some people are doing for some reason is they are actually creating, they're choosing individual faces, like, they're saying that's going to be a zone and this is going to be a zone. This other, absolutely don't do that. It's much simpler than that. You're creating a zone first with the zone template, and then you're adding to it all these other features. All right, I hope that helps.